we predict that the global economy will rebound in 2021, with growth expected in both developed and emerging economies, but will maintain our range of pessimistic COVID scenarios in case there is a second global wave of the pandemic or delays in vaccine deployment.
The COVID-19 pandemic is set to roll back some of the progress achieved globally to reduce poverty because lockdowns and social distancing measures implemented in many countries disproportionately impact low-income households, their lives and livelihoods. As the base of the pyramid gets bigger, low-income consumers will rise in importance.
This year, the global economy is expected to partially recover from the COVID-19 recession. Yet, several risks for this recovery remain. The most imminent threats are additional regional COVID-19 infection waves, disruptions in COVID-19 vaccine distribution, and public skepticism towards the vaccine.
In 2021, cities will increasingly leverage technology and smart innovations to push ahead the need for data-driven decision-making. We have seen many cities already launching 5G internet, and this will be a crucial element of the smart city movement.
COVID-19 has had a profound effect on consumers, changing how they live forever. We see an unprecedented merging of digital and physical lifestyles now as people embrace both their newfound virtual habits alongside real-life, in-person connection.
As consumer awareness in social and environmental issues accelerates, steps to improve the beauty and personal care industry's environmental footprint are progressing at a faster pace. While sustainable initiatives may have been postponed due to COVID-19, we expect to see more bio-based and biodegradable materials, more widely recyclable pack materials, and returnable systems in beauty.
Legal cannabis came out of 2020 with very positive commercial and regulatory momentum behind it, and that only looks set to continue into 2021 as the year promises to be a watershed for the development of the young industry.
2020 brought a dramatic shift in the landscape of where we eat, as literally billions of meal occasions moved from restaurants, schools, workplaces, and other out-of-home venues back into the home. I'm recording this at home. Many of you are probably watching this at home. But in 2021, it's the reversal of this pattern in terms of both speed and scale that will really define the performance of the packaged food industry.
A key story for digital consumers in 2021 will be e-commerce. Of course, we saw e-commerce surge in 2020 as consumers became reliant on the digital channel while in isolation. While many expect for this to lead to a long-term boom in e-commerce growth, the key debate is to what degree.
Driven by health and sustainability, plant-based food will continue its successful journey in 2021. Research going into cleaner, less processed and more nutritious offerings is underway, as well as a significant expansion into less developed categories in the plant-based segment, including cheese, fish, and seafood alternatives.
The soft drinks industry will enter 2021 hoping to accelerate the recovery in on-trade and to re-establish value of their products in retail. I think we can expect to see more affordable, smaller sized packages, flavor innovation, particularly around familiar and successful core brands, and a renewed focus on functional drinks, particularly in the areas of energy, hydration, and immune support.
There's no question that for 2020, the most important trend for the consumer food service industry is that the crisis remains ongoing. While we all hope that we will see an end to it sometime in 2021, the fact remains that for much of the world, leaving the house, purchasing outside the house is still fraught with difficulty. And so I would expect a further intensification of all of the trends we've seen towards greater delivery and really a blurring of the lines between what we think of as retail food purchasing or food service, since all of these things are being purchased through the same apps in many cases and as part of the same occasion.
One of the key topics on the agenda for tissue and disposable absorbent hygiene industries in 2021 will be the need to balance the response to the heightened need for affordable products due to depressed incomes with the need for premium innovation. Premium products will carry a heavier burden of proof of value to consumers.
In 2021, we expect more M&As and bankruptcies to continue reshaping the fashion industry as a direct consequence of the COVID-19 pandemic. There is no question that investments in social media and e-commerce will continue to accelerate, with over a third total sales of apparel and footwear now generated online. Besides that, it will be more and more important for fashion players to put their social commitments to the fore and position their offering around comfort and well-being as consumers become more selective for either financial reasons or because of their increased ethical awareness.
Global manufacturing sector is forecast to start recovering after the COVID-19 shock, with production values forecast to grow by 4% in real terms in 2021. Pharmaceuticals and high-tech goods industries are forecast to show the best performance thanks to increasing spending on healthcare and investments into business digitization and e-commerce.
Preventative health has moved into the spotlight in light of the ongoing COVID-19 crisis. This creates opportunities for functionality in 2021 and will raise the importance of the respective health claims. Functional food that helps consumers to boost their immunity, to become energized, focused, relax, lift their mood, or facilitate sleep are likely to gain traction in view of the ongoing stress and anxiety as a result of the pandemic.
COVID-19 will continue to loom large in 2021 for the global consumer health industry through its effects on consumer behavior, on disease patterns outside of just the coronavirus, and of course around broader views on nutrition, on activity, and wellness.
In the retailing industry, I think one of the most significant effects of these long-term changes in consumer behavior will be the permanently elevated importance of e-commerce. With the penetration of online sales projected to remain high in 2021 and into the forecast period, retailers from across the spectrum are increasingly aware that they must adapt to a future in which e-commerce has moved from the periphery to the center of their operations if they wish to thrive into the 21st century.
2020 saw a massive global shift in consumption of coffee and tea from public spaces like restaurants, cafes, and offices into the home. Therefore, the major theme of 2021 for hot drinks is managing the shift back as the world reopens and people start to consume more in public again.
Consumer electronics is set for the next phase of a V-shaped recovery with a 3% growth in 2021. The main driver will be smartphones, which is projected to grow 6% after dismay 2020, as manufacturers offer more affordable flagship models.
In 2021, we are likely to see a continued behavioral shift towards micromobility as a mode of travel in cities. Bicycles, scooters, and their electric forms will become more relevant not just as a result of the pandemic, but also because of government incentives, improving infrastructure, and better and more plentiful consumer access to micromobility.
For consumer finance for 2021, we expect more recessionary behavior to take hold among consumers over the long term and a continued sustained movement away from paper payments to card and electronic alternatives.
In 2021, the professional sports industry will start to see the beginnings of a recovery. This will be accelerated by all things tech, from increased social media engagement with fans to venue and match day operations and logistics. Question marks, however, will continue to hang over the hosting of many of the world's flagship events long into the year and potentially into 2022.
Having survived 2020 relatively unscathed, the economic fallout of the pandemic may weigh on tobacco in 2021, while its newest category, nicotine pouches, has a breakthrough year.
In 2021, the traditional toy industry will continue to experience growth, supported mainly by the demand for value-added products and e-learning, licensing efforts by manufacturers in product categories like dolls and accessories and action figures, and the acceleration of digitalization in consumers' lives. On the video game side, the growth will be supported by console gaming sales in both hardware and software due to the successful new release of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X in November of 2020, which sold out immediately at launch date. This growth will likely continue as more consumers have adopted digital play as a hobby they enjoy.
COVID-19 put the whole concept of animals in the human food chain under scrutiny like never before, with Singapore just approving lab-grown chicken for sale in restaurants and lab-grown milk, honey, and of course beef on the way. 2021 might be the year where we finally answer the question of whether humans will eat and enjoy lab-grown food.